this week the NBA schedule was released, our 76ers have 27 nationally televised games between NBA TV, TNT, ABC, and ESPN. I think if you take away the NBA TV games, we have 21 nationally televised games, which is the third most amount in the East behind Boston and New York, and we're also tied with Milwaukee with 27. The Sixers have 15 back-to-backs on the schedule, and that's our most since the 2016-2017 season. That was pretty eye-opening for me when I saw that. But obviously, a lot of things to look at in the schedule. What are some of your takeaways, guys, from the schedule? Teja, you want to take us away here, buddy?
Some opening things I just noticed. First 20 games, we're facing off against 11 playoff teams. In the middle of it, we have maybe one of our worst stretches, probably the most brutal stretch. We have from January 14th to the 24th, we have Thunder, the Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, Denver, and Cleveland. Pretty rough. And I think 3 of those are in the middle or sandwich on the road. I think it's Indiana, Milwaukee, Denver, 2 back-to-backs, or that's 1 back-to-back Indiana and Milwaukee traveling, which are pretty close, and then Denver on the 21st. So 3 straight road games in that whole thing. So we started off at home. So it's pretty and even before that, I think we have Orlando. So really you can go from January 10th to the 24th, because then we have New Orleans before that, then road Orlando, then back at home against OKC and New York, and then back on the road against Indiana, Milwaukee, Denver, and then back home to Cleveland. So that's a pretty rough stretch there. The last 20 games, we face off against 9 playoff teams from last year, but we finish off the year with Washington, Atlanta, Chicago. So if we need to make up late ground against somebody, maybe we can roll off just 3 quick games and maybe move up in the standings to, get a better seed. Those are my quick takeaways.
And also, I don't think you mentioned Boston and Philadelphia Christmas Day. It's the 5:00 game. So Sixers are again on Christmas Day, which is nice to see your squad on Christmas Day. Hopefully, it's a win. Obviously, it is against Boston, so that's going to be right around Christmas dinner if you are amongst people who eat Christmas dinners. So hopefully, it's a win for us that day. I mean, it's got kind of a tough matchup on Christmas Day after enjoying a nice day of opening gifts and whatnot.
And maybe Eric can kick in on this. So from Christmas to December to January 4th starts I think a 6-game road trip. So that's pretty brutal. That's a Christmas gift for him to start a 6-game road trip. Boston, Utah, Portland, Sacramento, Golden State, and then back to Brooklyn. They couldn't even bring us back home after that. We have to pass home to go to Brooklyn for that, and then back home. So, oof.
Yeah, I mean, as far as that, I think that the Christmas game against Boston on the 20, obviously that game is so early that I believe that they'll be back home Christmas evening and won't head out west until the 27th. So
that's a good call.
Them. So it's really a 5-game trip.
That's
more
true.
So than a 6-game trip. So they will at least get back home for at least 2 nights before you head out west. For me, I haven't really digest the schedule, and it's kind of hard for me to versus last season. I think last season, outside of James, I thought every team was kind of like settled, and you kind of knew what you would get from every team when healthy. I mean, Knicks obviously played better, but that wasn't a surprise to me. We all kind of knew they were kind of close. Cavaliers was right there. Orlando was, a team that could be right there. The Pacers, a team that could be right there. Miami, a team that could be right there. So I thought for the most part, you kind of got those teams were nothing really surprised me. This season, we kind of know the teams that's been there up top are going to be there, but I feel like it's some uncertainty. I still feel like it's some uncertainty. If we wanted to put Boston at 1, I still feel there's a great deal of uncertainty from 2 through 8 or 2 through 10, however you want to look at it. Like, it could fall any kind of way. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of hard for me to be like, okay, this part of the schedule is going to be the toughest. I would say right now, the most interesting and the most important part of the season is the first 10 games of the season.
Yeah.
You have, obviously you have Paul and you have Martin, you have all these new players, and you have basically a new scheme and a new direction. How we get up, what kind of start we get off to could really dictate the season and, how things are going and how fast we gel. So you starting out the season against Boston and Milwaukee. I mean, not Boston, Milwaukee. You starting off against Milwaukee, then you play got another nationally televised game at Boston. So I think that's going to be crucial. I really do think we got to get off to a good start. I believe that. And also one thing that caught my attention, I think I read it, and maybe Teja, you can confirm if it's accurate, but I did read where they said all national televised games, teams will not play before or after that.
Oh, the day before, you mean?
The day before or the day after.
Trying to make it more guys play.
Games. Yeah.
Yeah, that's smart.
Which could lead to why Marcus, why they may have more back-to-backs. That's probably why.
So I see it
because they probably put games at back-to-back that weren't national televised games. So if you leave a space between all those big-time games, you're gonna have to play more back-to-backs.
That makes sense.
The number of days in the season didn't change.
Yeah.
It's happened 3, 4 times. It happens to us 4 times where you play either one game the day before or the day after. That's not a lot, though.
On national, are those ABC and TNT or NBA TV?
I believe it was. I think TNT. We play on New Year's and the day after on TNT against Golden State. We play Oklahoma City on the 14th, and then on the 15th we play ESPN National on the 15th against New York. And then where's the other one I just saw?
Are those so that OKC New York is home in New York?
That's that brutal stretch. I think that's home in both.
Yeah. It's different like that. That's what I'm saying. If the trip is short, or like on the trip like that, even if you're going to New York, you don't even have to get on the plane. So those trips are easier, not easy, just easier.
Dallas on the March 16th on the road. We play on ABC, and then the next day at Houston, which is still pretty close, Texas.
Yes.
We play the next day, not televised, but the day before is. And then there was one other one I thought. No, I think that's it. Yeah, not a lot though.
Was the OKC game nationally televised or no?
No, the New York game is.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I know. They're both good games. But after the series last year, you knew New York was coming after that battle. That was probably one of the best series in the playoffs.
Yeah, every game going to be on national television.
I really think that might be the case. I think.
Yeah. Every game we have against New York and Boston are all nationally televised games. Yeah. Milwaukee, I think all but one of those games are nationally televised.
Yeah, they're not playing around.
Then also a part of the schedule, we haven't talked about this yet, obviously, but our the in-season tournament, our group, we have New York, Orlando, Brooklyn, and Charlotte. Pretty tough group, I think, for our in-season tournament. In comparison to last year, last year we had Detroit, Indiana, and I don't think Atlanta. So I mean, we're getting two premier
and we
playoff
didn't.
teams.
Yeah, we didn't make it.
We didn't make it.
And to open up, by the way, 9 of our 13 first games are against last year's playoff teams. So tough little opening.
So yeah, I like the start of the season. I know we have some stretches, but I still think, the start of the season, you could be comfortable or uncomfortable by the time that stretch comes.
Yeah. Well, of course they're going to make LA Clippers the second week of the season a televised game too. That's a big one. That's going to be his return to LA.
Where's that at? Where's that at?
LA.
In LA? Yeah, we open up.
I have to go to that one, Eric.
You guys need to go to that one.
So
I may go to that one. That's a weekday, right? That's a Wednesday?
Yeah, it's Wednesday. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe I can shoot over there for the day.
Have to make that work. And then the 8th, we play the Lakers Friday night.
Both televised.
Yeah.
Nationally televised.
That's right. Prices are pretty
I
cheap.
actually looked at that one, but I didn't even think about the Clippers game before it. I don't know. I doubt if I would come for both. I'll probably pick which one.
That's in the new arena, right? The LA Clippers. That's gonna be in the new one. So that's pretty cool. First
if it is, I'm definitely going to the Clipper game. If it's a new arena, I gotta go see that.
You gotta do that.
Yeah, it's that into it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that starting ticket price, I think ESPN says
they're very reasonable.
Starting as low as 67. Those are obviously the nosebleed seats of the 67, but
But you could get a sense of look at the Laker game starting at 130, so it's
mid bowl seats probably about 100 something probably. Not bad. It's gonna be a fun season. I like the amount of nationally televised games. I think we upped our amount of nationally televised games by 4 games in comparison to last year. Because remember, we talked about it being the uncertainty of what our roster is going to look like, and that's why because they took off from last year. And the year before that, we had a lot, and then last year we went down a little bit, and then now we've increased a little bit with PG coming.